Thank you so much for joining us. Now, the role of the student uprisings in 1976, it kind of rolls off the tongue. But the story of the students and what they were able to achieve in the Western Cape isn't one that we've really heard as much about. What does this exhibition aim to do?
I think it's like you say that I think the Western Cape has made such a huge contribution towards the 1976 uprisings and I think in the anti-apartheid struggle in general, and it's a story that kind of like almost disappeared from the national narrative. So with Aluta Continua, what we're trying to do is to begin to document and tell the story, because it is important that, I mean, in the Western Cape we had 150 people who died, 148 people, sorry, who died between August 1976 and January 1977. And that in itself gives you an idea of the magnitude of the resistance in the Western Cape. So this exhibition it's telling that story.
How did you go about putting together this specific exhibition?
Oh, it started in 2016, I think. At that time, it was the 40th anniversary of the student uprisings in 76 in 2016, and people were circulating a list of names of people who died that was on South African History Online. I think it was a list of 129 names, and I think that is how the idea came about, to say, but I mean 129 people is a lot of people. So the idea started there, to say we need to do something, we need to tell this particular story. And then it just developed from there, and then we felt that because of 76, a lot of other activities happened during that time. So you move towards the end of the 70s, you see the formation of COSES, and you see the formation of various other student organizations and just students, young people coming out. And then we're moving into the 80 period, and we're trying to tell the story of the 1980s through to the 90s. And then also there's a reflection on the past 25 years of democracy as well.
Now, it's been said that museums can play a very key role in helping people come to terms with issues around identity. And all of this week, here on ENCA, we've been dealing with issues around gangsterism, we've been dealing with issues around violence in schools. And there is a conversation to be had around young people not being connected or being unaware of the roots of their identity. Do you find that the work that you would be able to do at Iziko Museums could go a long way to help this issue, especially amongst the youth in the Western Cape?
I would hope so. I think that it is important, like you say, that young people, that we take young people through this journey in terms of where we're coming from and where we are now, and what are the current challenges that faces them. And I think that it's also, in a way, challenging young people to say that this is for defiance, this was the spirit, this was the discipline of youth of that period. And today you find yourselves in a situation where there's crime, where there's unemployment, where there's all these social ills in your communities. And what is it that you do about it? And I think that it's not only about taking them through this particular journey, but it's about challenging them, saying, what is it that you're doing? What is it that you can do to improve things right there in your community?
Through your work, what you're trying to do is also reach an audience that almost live their entire lives now on social media. You've got the pressures of other media platforms. How challenging does that make your job to keep museums and exhibitions like this relevant to a newer, younger audience?
I think that's exactly the challenge, and I think it is what we do inside our museums, because I think generally we come from a particular past where museums, or traditionally museums, has portrayed a particular story or was telling a particular story, and I think for us the challenge is, how do we change that? How do we create spaces or platforms for people to come in, whether they are young or old, for people to come in and identify with what it is that we're curating in the spaces, and have a conversation with the particular exhibition, and have that conversation between themselves and the the topic that is being presented. And I think that that is important for us, is how do we bring the past to the present? How do we kind of like marry the two into a space that would allow young people to be able to identify, but also take away from that exhibition, whether it is taking away their own in terms of their motivation, in terms of the encouraging, in terms of the hope that is there. But I think for us it is, how do we keep those spaces relevant, and it is to address and put up issues that affects young people in general. And yeah, I'm hoping that this exhibition is one of the topics, or the theme, the narrative, is one of that actually says that, you know, this is where we can see ourselves, but this is also where we can say that this is what we can do. Because the last section of the exhibition is an overview of the 25 years of democracy, and we've curated it in a way that through the Bill of Rights, we kind of like reflect to say, this is where we come from, this is where we are now. We have a constitution, we have a Bill of Rights. The constitution and the Bill of Rights says, or places certain demands and gives certain rights to people, but these are also the challenges. So visually we kind of like show the challenges that young people and people in general are faced with, but then there's also the thing is, so what is it that we do? And hence the name of the exhibition, Aluta Continua. The struggle always continues. The struggle will continue.
Indeed, Lynn. Just very quickly, we have unfortunately run out of time. We know that this is just one of the exhibitions that will be on show. There are quite a few others that could appeal to a wide range of people. Very quickly, if people want to find out more, where can they do so?
They can go onto our website and find out on our website. The museum is open on Monday, so the exhibition will be officially launched tomorrow. Monday the museum is open, the museum is free of charge, and people can actually just come in and walk through and have a look at it. And I think my details is also on the website. So if people feel that they want to share a story or they want to comment on the exhibition, they're more than welcome to do that.
Fantastic. Lynn, thank you so much for your time and all the best. Iziko Museums open to everybody for free on Monday. What a great way to spend a public holiday.